Before we begin, if you enjoy discovering hidden value, real history, and the kind of knowledge most people walk past every single day, make sure you subscribe right now. Subscribing means you don't miss the next story, the next reveal, or the next coin that could be sitting quietly in your pocket while the world ignores it. Now let me ask you something important. How many times in your life have you held a coin, flipped it once, and tossed it aside without a second thought? Most men do that thousands of times. We're taught coins are small, ordinary, almost invisible. But history doesn't always live in museums. Sometimes it lives in metal. Sometimes it lives in silence. And sometimes it lives inside a 10-cent coin from South Africa, dated 2008. At first glance, this coin doesn't shout. It doesn't sparkle like gold. It doesn't demand attention. That's exactly why it matters. Real value rarely screams. It waits. The year 2008 was not a quiet year in the world. Economies shook. Trust in systems cracked. Men who had worked decades suddenly realized how fragile money could be. And while headlines were filled with chaos, mints continued their work, striking coins that would travel through millions of hands, unnoticed, unappreciated, and completely misunderstood. South Africa in 2008 stood at a powerful crossroads. A nation still defining itself in the modern world, carrying the weight of history, resilience, and identity. Every coin struck during that time carried more than face value. It carried intention. This 10-cent coin was never meant to be glamorous. It was meant to work, to circulate, to be used by farmers, mechanics, shop owners, fathers, grandfathers. Men who understood effort. Men who understood that small things, done consistently, build empires. Look closer at this coin in your mind. Not just the number. Not just the year. Think about what it represents. A country rich in resources, rich in struggle, rich in survival. A place where metal is not just material, but memory. Every line pressed into that coin was cut by a machine guided by human choice. Someone decided its size, its design, its presence. Coins like this are time capsules. They pass through hands during ordinary moments. Buying bread, paying for transport, sitting in drawers, dropped between couch cushions, forgotten in jars. And while people argue about stocks and digital numbers on screens, these coins stay solid, honest, real. Men over 35 understand this better than anyone. You've seen trends rise and fall. You've watched promises break. You've learned that value isn't always obvious at first glance. The 2008 South Africa 10-cent coin is a perfect example of that truth. Most people think value comes from rarity alone. That's only half the story. True value comes from survival, condition, story, and timing. Coins from certain years quietly disappear. Melted, lost, worn down. And the ones that remain, especially in strong condition, start to separate themselves from the rest. This coin lived through change. It lived through global uncertainty. It lived through millions of decisions made by ordinary people who never imagined someone would one day stop and really look at it. But here you are. And here's where the tension begins. Because once you understand that coins are witnesses, not objects, you realize something unsettling. There are coins out there right now that people are spending for nothing, while collectors and serious men quietly search for them. Not because they're flashy, because they matter. This 10-cent coin represents discipline, a denomination that never tried to be more than it was. It stayed in its lane. And that humility is exactly why it survived in circulation long enough to become overlooked. Overlooked is dangerous. Overlooked is where opportunity hides. Think about how many men chased big wins and lost everything, while the patient ones slowly accumulated assets nobody cared about. Coins are no different. The design itself speaks quietly. It reflects national identity, strength rooted in nature, endurance over decoration. South African coinage has always leaned towards symbolism over excess. That appeals to men who value substance over noise. And age changes how we see things. At 20, a coin is spare change. At 40, it's history. At 60, it's proof. Proof that systems change. Proof that physical objects endure. proof that not everything valuable is loud. Now here's the part most people never consider. Coins from specific years are evaluated not just on metal or face value, but on how many still exist in respectable condition. A coin that circulated heavily but survived clean, sharp, and readable becomes something else entirely. It steps out of the crowd, and 2008 is one of those years that quietly matters. Economic pressure increases circulation. Coins move faster. Where increases, survival decreases. That alone changes the equation. Men who understand tools, machinery, or craftsmanship know this rule well. The harder something is used, the fewer clean examples remain. And the fewer clean examples remain, the more attention they attract from the right eyes. This isn't about hype. This isn't about fantasy. This is about pattern recognition. Collectors don't chase what everyone talks about. They chase what everyone ignores until it's too late. Imagine a drawer somewhere. Inside it, a few old coins wrapped in cloth. No one's touched them in years. One of them is this 10-cent coin. Still sharp, still clear, still waiting. That's how value is born. And now, we reach the moment you've been waiting for. Because understanding the story means nothing if you don't know the number. Let's slow this down. Take a breath, because this is where curiosity turns into surprise. Today, this South Africa 10-cent coin from 2008, when evaluated properly and preserved in strong condition, carries a value of $14.5 baht, not face value, not spare change. $14.5 baht. And that is why small things matter. That is why history whispers instead of shouts, and that is why you should never underestimate the weight of a coin. If you want me to continue the script and go deeper into why men your age are quietly turning back to physical history like this, tell me to continue, and I'll move forward.